Okay guys, we're down here on the floor with Sneaky Snake, and I just wanted to look in the housing of the grinder here and see what's going on with the lube system. And the first thing I see is this line right here is disconnected, and this line is disconnected. This line here comes up from the lube pump itself. This is a Berger system. I'm not fully understanding where this one goes. I don't believe that the rollers on this table is lubricated, but certainly the ways for the saddle would be. So can it be as simple as just reattaching these two lines? We'll find out. So now we've got about as much pre-cleaning done as I'm going to do. And that was more or less just for my own comfort, so that I'm not working in filth as I take this thing apart. But we're at the point where we're about ready to take this saddle off. And I'm just making little mental notes of little things as I go that I need to take care of. And one of them is right here on this crossfeed. Alright, here's one thing I'm just making note of. You notice the space between this little bracket that has the witness mark on it, the space between there and this hand wheel that has the divisions on it. And you can pick up some parallax error with your eye when you have that big a space. This space ought to be about as close as you can get it without it actually rubbing. So I don't know how this is fastened on there. I think it's fastened on with 1 or 2 screws, and I'll shim that out when I reassemble this thing so that it's very close. Just little things like that as I go. Okay, now we're ready to take the saddle off, and one of the things I know I have to do is I have to take the screw out because it's engaged with a fixed nut on the base, so it has to come out. And the other thing is, I know there's lubrication lines. They're probably snaked. If they are fastened on here, they are snaked down through there, so when I lift this table I have to be very careful that I don't damage those 2 lines. Other than that, it ought to be a cinch. This is the table feed wheel, manual feed wheel, and that's, you know, the table's off, so that's not a concern. And over on this side we have the elevation, or the vertical axis feed, manual feed, and that's down below the saddle, so that won't be a problem. So alright, let's get started on that. Let me back the camera up so you can get a little better feel for what I'm doing here. Okay, we know we need to take the crossfeed screw loose from the saddle, and this is the manual table feed, and we know we don't have to worry about that because the table's off, it's not engaged. This wheel and all will lift right off with the saddle. And I have to tell you, there is lubrication lines underneath there, and we'll lift this table off very carefully because I don't know if those lubrication lines are snaked up through some of these cordal places in here, and we don't want to damage the lube system if we can help it. That's just more rework to do. So here's the feed wheel, and it looks like we have 3 screws. Then we should be able to back the screw out. Yeah, there's one. Okay, there's one. Allen bolts are usually pretty good about not stripping out. Boy, it takes a lot of force. I have had to drill a few of them out through the course of time, but not on these 3. Okay. There is about 11 thousandths of backlash in this screw. Just borderline on, I'd like to have less, but it is borderline on being usable. So we'll just, this is a right hand screw. I guess if one was available, I might consider buying it if it wasn't too expensive. But if I have to make it, I probably would use the one I've got. This is something that can be changed after the grinder is completed. So, okay, I don't see anything terrible there. Alright, now the cable, or the saddle, should slide back and forth. Yeah. Okay, so that's good. I don't like the way it sounds. It sounds gritty. It's never a good sign when your ways sound gritty. Now, I don't think that I dare try to lift this table off by myself. I think I will have to get help. I'll have to figure out how to rig this thing. And yeah. Okay, that's as far as I can go by myself. I'll get some help, or I do have a engine hoist over here I can use. More smooth. So, I guess I'll be back when the momento